and I would like to welcome on stage the first speaker for today. That's Dimo Dimov from Gameloft. Please join me. Welcome. I'll just take one more minute. Dimo and I know one another from back in the late 90s, early 2000s, when we pretty much played video games in internet cafes. Whom of you played video games in internet clubs in Bulgarian gaming clubs? All right, so quite a lot of folks know what I'm talking about. So we played Warcraft. His passion for games brought him where he would tell you now. My passion for games brought me here today in front of you. So yeah, I think it was a fun ride and one that is just about to continue. So Dimo, the stage is fully yours.
Thank you very much for introduction,
You have the clicker with you?
I do.
All right.
And thank you everyone for being part of this amazing event. It's so nice to see so many people interested in the creative industry. And I have the privilege to be the first presenter at this stage. Like the first ever. Thank you very much. Today I'm going to be speaking about the gaming industry and what it takes in 2023 to get it all the way to being a hero in this industry. As usual, this presentation starts with this slide who states who I am. And this is what I used to be in my teenage years. It was this clash between mathematics and gaming. That equations over there, that's Eisenstein's criterion for irreducible polynomials. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. It's haunting me through my entire life, but this is actually the first time when I use it in practice. So shout out to this amazing criterion. And obviously Warcraft 3, it's kind of made me being passionate about games, and I didn't know back in these days, but those two images that you see, actually, it was meant to be, and I didn't know it, as I say, but gaming industry was something that all the way was going to be my life. So, speaking of me nowadays, I'm also a content creator in YouTube, and I will have this small channel where I'm playing games, I'm playing with people like you, I'm streaming and I'm organizing esports event. And to me that's super important because this gives me the perspective of players, what they desire and what they want to see in the games. And that's amazing. And still, I need to pay my bills. So this is what pays for it. I'm Vice President Live Games in Gameloft, and nowadays I'm working very closely with the Asphalt 9 team, the March of Empires, and other games which are about to be released, such as Disney Speedstorm. And saying this, now I'm gonna tell you why you should be part of the gaming industry. I see many students out there, and you are probably thinking, okay, this is fun, this is awesome. It is, I'm telling you, but why should we do it? So remember this equation? I'm gonna try to bore you to death with a little bit of charts. And it starts with the evolution of the global gaming market since 2012. For the past 10 years, the global market, the global gaming market, has increased almost 3 times. And if you pay closer attention, that's mostly due to the growth of the mobile phones. Do you play games on your mobile phones? Let me see the hands of people who has ever played a game on a mobile phone. Okay, so you're all players and you're all gamers then. What we see here is that in 2020, the industry exploded. This was the COVID factor. Nowadays, it is more or less stabilizing, but it is still expected to grow up until more than 200 billion per year. Now, to give a bit of a context, we always need a context. Wait a second. And now it's working. So, we've made with my colleagues this comparison of the entertainment industries nowadays. And in greenish, on the left side, you see the evolution of movie and music segments as a ballpark compared to the growth of gaming industry. Obviously, the movie industry was huge back in 2012, but nowadays, games are making more money than music and movies industries combined. So if your parents at some point are asking you, why the age you would join a gaming company and do games, just take a snapshot of this graphic, of this chart, and show them, yeah, because I want to raise my kids. And here's the split between consoles, mobile games, and PC in the current market. So this is a chart from 2023. And as we see, mobile games represent almost 50% of the market, while PC consoles represent another 30%, and just consoles, sorry. PC is another 20. However, console games are on the biggest rise nowadays, and this is the reason why we see so many mobile companies who obviously got the money so far, joining the console sector. And in just a couple of minutes, I'm going to tell you what it means to the gaming industry. Here's also just a quick view of the gaming market per regions. And I've seen it's dominated by the Asian Pacific region, those people are responsible for almost 50% of the whole industry, followed by North America and Europe. US alone represents 48 billions, which is more than 25% of the whole industry. And again, you're going to see it in a couple of minutes. That's why when we speak about the non-China market, we always use US as a reference. And finally, that's why I ask you about if you are playing games on phones. Finally, we have the evolution of players, which, if you see, it is much more stable than the evolution of the market itself. And thank you, Marto. Marto is reminding me that I need to be quicker. And in 2026, it would reach almost 4 billion players. So right now, almost half of the population on our planet are players or about to become ones. Again, majority of them are mobile players, followed by PC and console. And now, we're going to speak more closely about what made this industry explode, what happened in the past 10 years, and what live services games means, what is this thing, a product mindset. So what are live services games? Typically, back in the days, we, the developers, we were working on a game, we were publishing it, and that's it. We jump to another game and we want to do something far more interesting and far more different. Nowadays, most of the successful games are being designed in a way that players will play them for 5 or 10 years, maybe even forever. And we know very well that if we start working on a game, we're going to work for a very, very long time on it, and we're going to do whatever it takes to keep our players engaged. So here's just the definition, which is the most popular, what are live services games. It's a bit of a complex one, but if we go back in the days, it got popular in 2004 with World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft is the first game that became a live services one on that scale with its subscription model. Usually they're mistaken with free-to-play games, but actually live services includes all sorts of mechanics that are keeping players engaged in the game. That includes subscription, free-to-play, microtransactions, of course, battle passes, whatever you name it, online add-ons, and so on. And one thing that happened in the recent years is that the PC console market, which was typically reserved towards the live services actually exploded. And you see the top 10 most playing games on PC console for 2022. And 9 out of these 10 games are live services one, and the 10th is about to become. Also, another thing you can pay attention to is the release year of these games, and we got only 2 titles that were released in this decade. And if you find that interesting, look at what's going on with the mobile market. Mobile market was designed to be live services. 97% of the mobile market revenue share comes from microtransactions. And taking a look at the top games, we have Candy Crush, Roblox, Coin Masters, games that are more than 10 years old. So the bottom line here is that these guys, they knew 10 years ago that they should make games that would last forever. And now, here is an overview of what is a live services game. But now we're going to speak what it takes to be successful in this market dominated by live services games. Maybe in 5 years, live services games will be just like the premium model. They would not exist. But, oops, wait a second. We're going to see a few examples of games which we develop, and we are following this model. So first one is March of Empires. March of Empires is a game fully developed here in Gameloft Sofia by a Bulgarian team, supported. And actually, those are the guys that are developing this game, so shout out to the March of Empires team. And we don't really often speak about the success of this game, but it got more than 50 million lifetime downloads and the spectacular 150 million revenue in euro. So by far, this is the most successful game done by Gameloft Sofia, and it's in top 3 most successful Gameloft games ever. Again, it is fully supported, and we are covering the whole development process here, starting from the actual programming, everything related to creating the game, from the marketing strategy, publishing, the product, and monetization strategy. So a whole package. Here's another example of a live game that's now on the market for more than 15 years. The franchise is on the market for 15 years. Asphalt 9 is the latest game, and probably the last of this sequence, having more than 14 million monthly active users. So every month we have 14 million people who are either joining Asphalt 8 or Asphalt 9 for a total of 1.3 billion franchise downloads. And why I'm showing you this? First of all, I'm also very proud to say that Asphalt 9 is now co-developed between Barcelona and Sofia Studio. So we have a team that is part of the development, part of the product team, part of the marketing strategy. And now we're going to do an exercise which would lead us to what it really takes to become a hero in the industry. So, first of all, who has ever played any Asphalt game here now? Raise your hands. Okay, almost everyone. Thank you. What is the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear Asphalt? What do you think is the vision behind Asphalt? What makes it so special? Exactly. Anything else? Good point. Microtransactions are indeed part of it, and they're the third pillar. But what it actually made it successful is the instant fun part. You join the game and you start playing it. There aren't too many tutorials. You get your amazing car and you start driving. Then this action-packed gameplay who can keep you engaged for hours, and of course the most iconic things, microtransactions, which is related to prestigious cars. But how do we get to these pillars? What are the goals that they need to fulfill in order to form the vision of Asphalt 9? And here's the product mindset. People don't really talk about product mindset too much. maybe up until 2 years ago, but nowadays it's everywhere. And here, product mindset are basically the metrics that a game needs to fulfill in order to be successful. So, instant fun was actually the way for us to optimize our day one retention. Day one retention is the percentage of players who would play the game after they have installed it, on the next day after they install it. And when we started developing, we knew that we should be in the 45 to 50% of day one retention. Otherwise, this game would have been a flop. The gameplay obviously leads to the session length. Players who are enjoying the gameplay are playing the game for a longer time. And prestigious cars is the monetization part of it. Product mindset is is teaching us that in order to make a very good, fun game that people would play for years, it needs to be financially successful. Unfortunately, or maybe not, it's part of the industry, and if you are making financially successful games, you would have the freedom to make the games you want to make. And that's actually the definition, the easiest definition of what is the product mindset. It is the connection between the creative process and the business metrics. And now, following up, I'm going to just share what it takes to develop a product mindset and why it is so important in a team. So over here, I'm going to just speak about how we at Gameloft think of product mindset and which are the best practices that work for us. But even if you are not part of the gaming industry, you could still take a note from it. So first thing is that we are giving access to business data for all key stakeholders, for all decision makers about the game. They should know what is the state of our company when they're supposed to take a decision. And if you are not part of the gaming industry, this information is also publicly accessible. So a hint here, going to an interview, it always makes a good impression if you know a bit of the business of the company. I see our senior producer laughing here. So many candidates didn't pass this test. Then what we are doing is that we are sharing all the important game metrics with the entire team. Even if you are a 3D artist, if you are a very creative person, it is still good to have an idea of what is the goal of the team. And we are trying to align these metrics with people's personal goals. When we are designing a feature, we are always super transparent. So we gather the whole team, we are discussing publicly what is the scope of the feature, what its goals are, and which are the metrics that it needs to achieve or improve. And then, of course, when the feature is out there, we are, again, very transparently evaluating its performance. It doesn't matter if it's a flop or not. Usually, we will have lots of features that are flopping, but knowing what went wrong and what we didn't achieve is what makes us better. And finally, we're encouraging everyone to do a market research. Gameloft is known for being a mobile company. Nowadays, we are moving to the cross-platform play, but we know that most of our employees are playing also PC games. And it's totally fine. As long as they could do a market research and show us a product case about this game, that's totally fine because we will always get some warnings. And finally, again, for all of you that are thinking, all right, but what can I do in the gaming industry? I've prepared a slide, which is a shout out to our HR team, because if I didn't show this slide, they will not let me enter the office anymore. And I see some people are taking pictures. These are all the careers that are well, not all, some of the careers that are available in the gaming industry. Speaking of March of Empires team, basically they have all these specialists in the team. So you see more than 20, 25, maybe 30, I don't know, professions here. And no matter if you're interested in management, in tech, in mathematics like me, or art, you would find your place somewhere here. The gaming industry is extremely broad, And even if you are not a player, you could still be part of it. We have this non-stop discussion about should we hire only gamers? And nowadays, most of the people that are starting in Gameloft are actually not gamers. They don't need to be. They just need to want to be part of this team and develop their game. So, well, my saying here is you don't need to be a gamer to join the gaming industry, but inevitably you will become one. And finally, speaking about the heroes in the gaming industry, and I have a very special slide for you. And there are some people who's going to hate me about this, but we have a few heroes which used to be zeros in the code. And if you are interested about their path, you can just see them here on the first row. And shout out to Dejan, Victor, Stefan. Dejan is the game manager of March of Empires, as stated, the third most successful game ever in Gameloft. Victor is our senior game producer who is working on all the titles in Sofia, including Asphalt. And Dex, who is only 20 years old, he used to be in high school 2 years ago. He created our content creators program and now is managing all the creators of Gameloft Sofia, as long as being a game community manager for March of Empires. And with this being said, I see I have 3 more minutes. I just want to thank you for being part of this amazing event, and I'm open to any questions you might have.
Thank you, Dimo. Can I get the mic? Thank you, Dimo, for... Can you guys hear me? Cool. Thank you for exposing your colleagues here on the front row. I'm super excited every time I hear a story because like wearing 2 hats of the business guy and the consumer and the content creator I think is great. Can we please, colleagues, have the slide with the questions? So if you have questions, I already have one for Dimo, but now's your time to ask. So you just like type in scan the QR code or open Slido, type in the hashtag and ask your question there. I have it in front of me. Yeah, sorry, but I couldn't remember. Was it human that you played in Warcraft 3?
No. I used to be orc in Warcraft 3 originally, and then in Frozen Throne, I switched to undead.
Yeah, so same as I did.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Marto didn't know actually, but he's the person who kind of stopped my Warcraft 3 career on a quarterfinal in the WCG qualifiers.
Well,
like, exactly 20 years ago, actually.
All right. So from today's perspective, was it a good thing that it happened, or you still hold a grudge against me?
I don't think it wouldn't change anything. Like, it was meant to be.
There's a question. Is it hard to find the right people for your teams?
I wouldn't say so. There are so many talents in our countries. They just don't know they're a fit for the team. That's one of the reasons why we stopped saying that being part of the gaming industry is a plus. We just want to see everyone. And if a person is determined to learn and passionate about what he does or she does, that's the right people. That's the right person. And I would say in the past 2 years, we kind of find the right guys.
Yeah. That's a thing that I've observed myself. Like a lot of people know a lot of things about making video games without knowing that they know things about making video games.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially the math and economics vertical. Like a lot of people have absolutely no idea that they're expert in economics, let's say, but have no idea that this is applicable in video games.
That's related to the fact that product and marketing careers are not that popular here, and most of the people think that it just takes a developer, a few artists, and a game designer who might also be a developer to make a game. But to make a truly successful game that's going to be remembered, you would need those people.
I have a lot of questions coming in, but I'll ask 1 or 2, so I'll ask you to be short because we are running out of time and we need to welcome Katalin on stage. How hard is releasing a mobile game in today's market? I think that's a one-word answer.
Nowadays, releasing a new mobile game is close to impossible, really. You see, the last one that made it to top 10 is released in 2021. This year we have a few games that are making it, but it requires be very cautious about all these metrics and all this perspective, what the players want, how the game performs, and you should always listen to your audience, not just by getting into the comments, but listen to the data that they represent.
Yeah. I think co-creating it with the audience is something that more and more is happening in video games.
Yeah.
One last question for you. Advice for finding internships and graduation projects in the game industry. Do you have any?
Excuse
Advice for finding internships and graduation projects in the gaming industry.
Just apply to the job offers. Now,
right.
it doesn't matter if, if you just want to be an internship, just go to the interview. If you're doing your job well and people like you, gaming industry will always find a way to welcome you.
Or in other words, hunt that guy and the guys on the front row that he exposed. Thank you very much, Dimo, please.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.